So thank you for joining us for the 9th edition of Evolve, a knowledge series of MSMEs from Axis Bank. I am James Abraham representing the bank, and it's in this wonderful evening we will be spending around 120 minutes discussing about our experience for MSME growth in this country. So conceptualized in 2014, Evolve focuses on the burgeoning micro, small and medium enterprises. And we have successfully reached out to 9,000 plus customers till date across 50 plus cities. As a knowledge partner, what we do? We equip MSMEs with new age strategies, case studies, operational know-how, regulatory and governmental affairs, etc., which all can impact their businesses and aid in their growth as a knowledge partner. Today's session, as you see, Future Proofing MSMEs for the New Age, is centered around building a robust MSME ecosystem and fostering financially resilient and competitive MSMEs. To set the context and to extend a warm welcome, I request our regional branch banking head, Mr. Nudhi Chakravarti, to come over to the stage.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome you all to this evening gathering on the future proofing of MSMEs for the new age. I'm delighted to be amongst all of you, and thank you for taking your time. I really appreciate taking your time on a busy day and then coming here. And I'm also equally delighted to have our DMD, Mr. Rajiv Anand, today, and also three panelists, Mr. Rajendran, Mr. Rafiq, and Mr. Vijay Sheth, to be here to address, to give us their thoughts. So, I mean, it's a great occasion for all of us because this is the 9th edition. I think, as rightly mentioned, we have been getting in touch with our SMEs, MSMEs on a pan-India basis, and then do what we can do best as a bank. And more importantly, let me first introduce you, give some insight about the Axis Bank to each one of you. Axis Bank, we have started our operations about 31 years back. So today we have about 5,700 branches. The balance sheet size of the bank has grown significantly. And thanks to the patronage of each one of you, that today we have about 5.8 crore customers across the bank. So with the patronage that each one of you are giving us, the bank has been gaining in balance sheet size. Today we have got close to about 10.91 lakh crores of deposits, close to about 11 lakh crores of deposits. Advances about 10.15 lakh crores for advances, with the balance sheet size of almost about 15.26 lakh crores of balance sheet. So the profitability of the bank has also significantly increased to about 19,578 crores as of the 9-month period ending December. So with all these things, I think the bank is gaining strength. But at the same time, bank is also focusing on some of the initiatives which I'll take a couple of minutes to share with you. One is the digitalization and technology, which the bank is investing heavily, so that we can cater to these ever-growing requirements of our customers. Especially in the digital technology, Axis Bank has got a mobile app, retail banking mobile app, which is one of the best apps in the country, which is rated 4.7 on the iOS as well as 4.6 on the Play Store. Not only in India, but globally it is rated as one of the best apps in the global. And this app has got about 250 plus functionalities. At the same time, bank also has taken one more initiative that we want to deliver unique customer experience, which is called as the Sparsh. So in Sparsh, what we do is we not only train our front office, back office resources, but also we invest in technology, we invest in some of the processes which can help the customers to do their transactions seamlessly, and quite a good number of them could be STP. I think one of them which you're seeing is Neo app, which we have developed for Neo for corporates or Neo for business. Neo for business is for the sole proprietors and the individuals, and for Neo for corporates, it's for the corporate customers like you. And today, I think while I was discussing with one of our customers, I think we are, as a country, we are at a sweet spot to a larger extent. I think the economy has been growing good. We are a 3.5 trillion economy at this point of time. Probably in the next 3-4 years of time, so the expectation is we should touch about 5 trillion. I am speaking at a point where there are slightly some headwinds for the economy. I think with the Trump coming in, we are seeing some headwinds. With some of the geopolitical reasons, we are seeing some headwinds. And some of the global or macroeconomic factors are creating some of the headwinds. But I think the policy from the government is actually auguring well for us, whether it's in terms of Make in India or the Atmanirbhar Bharat or the Startup India. Some of the MSME policy changes that have been brought in this particular budget all of them are auguring well for us. And especially with the digitalization that is happening, it's actually going to help us speed up the growth in the growth of the economy. And what we see, the 5 trillion economy that we are looking at probably can come in the next 3-4 years of time, depending on the GDP growth. Though we have seen some muted GDP growth at about 6.2%, but still we feel that the GDP growth, we are still one of the fastest growing economies in the world. With that, I think as a bank, I've been in the bank for almost about 23 years. I personally seen some of the SME units becoming actually a medium enterprises or a mid corporates, evolving over a period of time. So we stand by you at all points of time, and we can actually provide you with a lot of services, either on the current account, or on the payment collection solutions, or on the forex, and with the technology that we have, we should be in a position to lend you whatever support we want. And to a larger extent, because we are also looking at hyper personalization, customization of the requirements of the customer. So if any of the customer comes back and tells us, or probably when we engage with the customer, if the customer tells us, so these are the pain points that we have got, we'll be more than happy to resolve those pain points for the customer. And where the technology can come into handy for each one of the customers that we have, and we can develop those customized solutions for you. So I would request each one of you, and probably you can spread this word, that any one of them are requiring any of the banking services in terms of tech or digital support, or probably the basic banking support, we'll be more than happy to help. And today also at this point of time, we are in probably a startup era, startup economy. And we have got an excellent toolkit for all the startups. Any of the customer is interested, basically starting with the current account, the promoter savings accounts, the salary accounts, and on the forex side, and on the compliance side, we'll be in a position to provide the whole range of services to the customers, whoever are interested in probably starting a new enterprise, or even for a startup, we'll be more than happy to provide. And the bank has got the strength and the capability to provide this. And one of the other advantages that the bank has got today is, as per the last balance sheet, we have got 5,706 branches spread across all over the country. And this is distributed across 3,000 centers across the country. So, I mean, in case of any cash management, collections you have across on a pan-India basis, our branch network can be leveraged, and which can help you in terms of faster payment, faster collection. Today with the digital technology, probably the reliance on the branch network is, for you to reach out has come down to an extent, but still to a large extent where your checks to be collected or cash to be collected, or probably you have network, you have branches across on a pan-India basis, we can be more than handy for meeting all your requirements. And today we have got the head of the forex here. So especially in terms of forex, we have got a great platforms. I would encourage that we'll have a look at those platforms. And during the course of the discussion also, we'll be looking at those solutions which can support the growth of the business. So on behalf of the entire team here, so I can only assure you that we are a universal bank, we are an all-weather franchise. So any requirement in banking services, we'll be more than happy to come support and be at your call to take care of all the banking requirements. And once again, let me thank you for making it here, and I request the continuance of the program. Yeah, please, James.
Wow, thank you, sir. You narrated the whole story, our whole journey of Axis Bank from the 31 years, and what Axis is doing today. Thanks for those insightful words. Going forward, we would like to talk about Axis Bank, what it does to future-proof MSMEs for the new age businesses through its various propositions. Mr. Vijay Shetty, EVP and Head Commercial Banking, will share his experiences. Mr. Vijay Shetty is a seasoned banking professional with 27 plus years of experience in the lending space, focusing on areas of customer acquisition, risk management, process management, and digital transformation. He has been with the bank since April 2016 as Head of Commercial Banking, and his focus is partnering closely with MSMEs and their growth journey by providing curated solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Vijay Shetty.
I think Nuti has covered on the banking Axis Bank all about. We started Evolve in 2014, I think, when the Make in India startup, and it's almost decades. And that time, we thought that the Evolve will become a knowledge series, and this kind of event will help us to share your feedback, solutions, what you need from the banking side, as well as from your requirement, when bank can learn from it. That's one of the reasons we are gathered here. It's the fourth event in this financial year. We got a lot of feedback. I'm sure this event is also give us an opportunity to understand your requirement. I'm sure that will help us, even the panel members share their learnings. It will help you to grow your business. I'll give just a brief about the MSME ecosystem in India. I'm sure it will help all of us. If you look at MSME, we have almost 56 million MSME registered, Udyam registered customer. In that, majority of is micro. With a new policy, I'm sure it will become from 95%, it may become 98 or 99% of micro. Then it comes small and medium. I'm sure this will help everybody, right? In the COVID time, when the MSME got a benefit of ECLGS. I'm sure with the 750 crores, any event, I'm sure government will support the MSME. That's one of the reasons what you feel that this will help the entire ecosystem. And if you, the India economy, MSME is the cornerstone, right? It gives almost 30% of GDP growth. And the employment what we give it, that's really, really a big. And Tamil Nadu is the state's second largest economy in India, and after Maharashtra. If you see the numbers, they contribute around 8.9% of contribution to Indian GDP. In Tamil Nadu, one of the biggest things, every city is developed. It's whether it's a leather or a textile or a manufacturing or auto ancillaries, and entire end-to-end ancillaries there. That's one of the reasons the growth story is really big here. And if you see another thing is number of MSMEs, informal is quite big. In India, almost 330 million, which is not there. They are not registered, but they do business. I'm sure your supplier or maybe a distributor or a small MSMEs, they're not registered, but at the end of the day, they do business all of a sudden. And in Shivkasi is one of, you know that 90% of firecrackers done in India, and it's the biggest one. So it's, I'm sure you guys are proud that what you have contributed to the Indian economy. I think Nuti has covered on the bank. We are the third largest private sector bank. We have multiple subsidiaries doing well, and I'm sure the one thing from Axis Bank, when you say that we want to serve everything, whatever the need you have, whether it is a smallest ticket size of 50,000 loan to any type of, whether it's a large corporate. That's what we are looking at. And we have largest contribution in the MSME. I'll give a share in terms of the growth of the MSME, almost 28% CAGR we have done last year, till last 5 years. This is a number, we have 2.3 lakh of balance sheet in the MSME. And the largest contribution, like growth story with the small segment, right? Micro and small is growing much faster than any other segment. We have grown almost 42% CAGR in last 4 years. And if you see that overall, medium and small also growing in the same pace. What reason, like today, as a bank, why we are looking at MSME as a growth engine for a bank is there is a lot of changes happening in the industry, whether it is a MSME or any segment, technology, data is giving us to give an opportunity to grow the business. Give one example, we started digital lending in unsecured business, where we could able to underwrite the customer. Within 3 minutes, we can disburse the loan. We are the largest in terms of digitally disbursed in the industry, including NBFC or a bank. We are the largest one. We do almost 750 crore monthly disbursement digitally, and it happens over the click of a button. And when you see that this can happen because even the smallest shop guy, because we can able to underwrite because we have a digital print in terms of what exactly he does. I think new tax regime of 12 lakh, I'm sure people will do more tax filing and they will show the income more. Obviously, that will help formal, like when I said that 330 million informal MSMEs are there, they will start coming into a formal credit. One more thing, I think CGTMSE government guarantee scheme, which is also helping in the informal and formal sector. One of the best stories, like the recent Shark Tank, one of our customer who came us 4 years back for 70 lakh CGTMSE, and he came for, now he's taken a more loan. he grown with us, and he got two sharks are invested in that for a 50 crore valuation. So this is a story, right? Like because of the government scheme, he doesn't had any collateral to give where the bank can fund him, and obviously today we are also proud because we are partner in that growth story. When you say that in the MSME, what all product we can give it, like whether it is an individual to entity or a corporate, all the solution in one, I think across all the branches we can give it to the MSME customer, whether it is an asset or a deposit or a private banking, anything you ask for it, we are there. I'm sure a lot of us are experienced that. I'm sure in the Burgundy Private is one of the segment we always proud of and managing that. Most of them are in that. If somebody is not that, please make an experience of that. When you want to grow business, we have to simplify the process. What we did in terms of the MSME, we could lend across anywhere in the country, every branch. We can take the documentation from the smallest town and process it and underwrite the customer and fund that, because MSME, underwriting MSME is not easy because everything is not shown in the balance sheet. We don't understand the setup what they have. So we could do that digitally, whether it's a video PD or underwriting with a banking or a GST. We can work around, we can underwrite. This is one of the aspects we talk about it, and we know that this is where the number of days taken to process the case is shortened. In the renewal case, like normally renewal takes a lot of time, we have put up a technology within 3 minutes. In the sole prop, we have done it, where with a 3-click, you can renew the facilities. I think new for business as well as Nuti has spoken about. I'm sure we have put up a shop outside, stall outside. Please go and experience that. I'm sure this will help your team in terms of the process and in terms of getting the faster transaction in your business. Recently, we have launched 2 products. One is merchant cash advance, another is unsecured business loan for the new to the bank customer. Merchant cash advance product is where I can start the journey and you can get a QR code as well as a lending. It just happens within 3 minutes time. So it's a new journey, mostly on informal and micro customer, and it's an experience where I'm sure you will be having a lot of suppliers or distributor. Please, they can talk about it and they can take this facility. I think Nuti has covered on the Burgundy Private. Today's event, my request is need your feedback that will help us to grow. After this discussion, we want to interact more. Give us a feedback that will help us to grow the business. With that, thank you very much, and thank you very much for gracing this occasion. Thank you.
Moving on, the most important session for the day, to share his views on MSME segment and how the bank is committed to creating new age solutions for the segment. Our Deputy Managing Director, Mr. Rajiv Anand, will come over to the stage. With an illustrious career spanning more than 30 years, he has delved into various facets of financial services of the industry. Rajiv served as the founding Managing Director and CEO of Axis AMC in 2009. In 2013, he was elevated to the head of retail banking, and from 2016, he serves in the board of the bank. From 2021, he got elevated as the Deputy Managing Director, and he is the co-chair of Banking Task Force at CII, and also the chairman of board of Axis Securities Limited and Airtrades Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to welcome Mr. Rajiv onto stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and first and foremost, I just want to add to the welcome that Nuti and Vijay gave you. We really appreciate the fact that you've come here on a weekday evening. The Chennai traffic is not the greatest, like any other city in India, I must add. So the fact that you're here means a lot to us. I think what you've heard from the 2 speakers is the focus that Axis Bank has built over the last about 10 years or so around the MSME sector. Nuti spoke about the 2 decades that he spent, within the bank. I've been here for 16 years. I saw the evolution and the revolution of retail banking in India, as banks moved from largely corporate banking to retail banking. For example, in Axis Bank itself, in 2012-13, our book used to be predominantly corporate. 80% of our book was corporate. Today, 60% is retail. And that was to a large degree driven by the fact that India was able to create the infrastructure for retail lending. The adoption of Aadhaar, mobile banking, the fact that we all were able to get data about customers, being able to translate that data into insights and be able to serve customers helped us, or the evolution of credit bureaus. The fact that if you now default on your loan, the probability that you will get another loan is highly unlikely. All these things gave bankers the confidence to be able to build a retail book, and a very profitable retail book. Then we also saw innovation. I mean, obviously the traditional products of mortgage and auto loans, but then we got into personal loans for pre-approved customers in a matter of seconds, where you were able to the amounts were credited to your account while you were standing at a restaurant or a shop and you're waiting to buy a TV. Money was credited to your account instantly, and you were able to use that. And then, of course, the innovations that we saw around credit cards and such other products. I am now seeing in this decade the same revolution as far as MSME is concerned. There is so much more data that is now available about MSMEs. GST data is now available. Taxation has changed. More and more transactions are going through digitally, either through credit cards or UPI, and that gives us the opportunity to move away from collateral-backed lending to cash flow-based lending. And I do believe that given the vibrancy of the MSME sector in India, this is only going to grow. Just to give you a perspective from an Axis Bank perspective, is let's say 10 years ago, the MSME book was it was in single-digit percentages. Today, the book at 2.3 lakh crores is 20% or 20 or 22% of our overall book, and continues to grow very strongly. As Vijay spoke about the fact that this is a book which is 2.3 lakh crores, a million customers, where we are serving across about 350 odd cities in this country. In fact, the small loans that Vijay has is available across 5,700 branches of Axis Bank. And so therefore, we are taking MSME lending or the MSME banking franchise really deep into this country. And I do believe that this is a massive opportunity for growth for India. And I think we all speak about the fact that we want to become a $5 trillion economy and develop by 2047, etc. We cannot do that unless MSMEs succeed. And so therefore, the role that each one of you plays in the growth of this nation, and our partnership with each one of you, cannot be underestimated in that sense. I'm also thrilled to be here in Chennai. I see that Tamil Nadu contributes 9% of GDP through the MSME sector, second only to Gujarat. Over $10 billion of exports, 5 million MSMEs, once again the third largest in this country, across industries. And I think the diversity of industries that we are seeing here in Chennai is commendable and will continue to grow, I am sure. And I think one of the other interesting aspects, while many of the other states have their MSME hubs in one or two locations, I think what is very, very interesting in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, is the fact that this state has been able to develop so many hubs. Ranipet, Salem, Coimbatore, Tirupur, Trichy, Madurai, Salem, etc. That sort of spread is not something that you see in many of the other states. So, congratulations to each one of you, and it just shows the kind of entrepreneurship that that is available here in Tamil Nadu. It is our intent as Axis Bank to partner with each one of you to be able to grow. Please do look at some of the work that we have done. I assure you that it will add value to you. It will improve efficiency in your businesses, and because of the fact that much of it is real time, digitally enabled, etc. And events like this is really about for us to be able to meet all of you, but it is also about you meeting other entrepreneurs and learning from their experiences. And post this, we will have some very, very successful entrepreneurs talk about their journeys, and I would urge each one of you to listen to them carefully. I'm sure you will really value the words that they have in terms of the experience that they've gone through in terms of building the business. What are the pitfalls? What have they learned? And I really do hope that it adds value to you. And it is really our intent to be able to add value to each one of you through events like this. In some of the other events we've had, tax experts, experts on, if you want to go IPO, what are some of the things that you need to think about, and it is really some of those things that we will bring to you through Evolve. We also have an expert in treasury management to be able to help you manage your liquidity, manage your interest rate risk, manage your FX risk, and how Axis Bank will be able to partner with you in each of those journeys. Once again, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate the fact that you've taken time to be here, and do enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajiv, for sharing your thoughts and vision for MSME segment. Rightly, he said, Tamil Nadu is a unique state. We are blessed to be part of the state, which has got a lot of small towns, tier 2, tier 3 towns, which acts as a network of industries, which has helped fostering this town. But one more thing, he rightly pointed out that we had many knowledge sharing sessions from the government, from the banks, and all this. We are also part of that journey, which aided such growth. You remember, I was talking to some promoter today, and he was telling about the guidance bureaus offered by CIDCO as early in 1970s, which all helped those days, to give advices to MSMEs. So we are also partnering in that line to help those MSMEs to get to the new age. So far we heard about what we are doing as an Axis Bank, what we are doing. But what about future proofing? So let us listen from our head treasury and market sales, Mr. Brijesh Chalil. Brijesh has an extensive experience well over 2.5 decades in banking sector. He started his career in ANC Bank before joining Standard Chartered Bank, where he served as an executive director of financial market. He joined the bank in early 2020 and currently heads the treasury market sales vertical. So let us all put our hands together to welcome Mr. Brijesh onto the stage and to listen what future proofing of MSME is all about. Welcome.
Thanks, James. Good evening and a very warm welcome again to the 9th edition of Axis Evolve. You heard Nuti, you heard Vijay, and of course you heard our DMD Rajiv say, thank you first of all, all of you for joining us this evening, and more importantly allowing Axis Bank to be a partner in this wonderful journey, which is MSME. Today's topic is future proofing MSMEs for the new age. I don't think, any one of us can teach you entrepreneurs how to run your business, but maybe over the next 10-15 minutes, we'll try to paint the landscape of what's happening globally and in India, and maybe together we can try and work some solutions. They say a picture is, worth 1,000 words. So, this is how the new year has started, pictorially if you see it. We've seen global debt go through the ceiling. We've had a China crisis on our hand. We've already seen a political kind of war that's happening through trade. Most of you would have seen what happened, where you've heard of AI, which was supposed to sweep the world. You had companies like Meta and Facebook and Microsoft spend $60 to $80 billion. And then you have DeepSeek come one day, spending barely $6 million. And in that one day, literally trouncing 1 trillion and wiping that off equity markets. So it's been a very mixed bag. There's been some tragic news. We've seen outbreaks of diseases. I don't know if most of you read the papers. GBS outbreak is official now. I think we sadly had the first death in Chennai also today. So I think it's the year's gone off to a bumpy start. Let's navigate through some of these. We can't not start without paying heed to what's happening in US markets. This is American supremacy at its loudest and in full display. So we've obviously have new president-elect Donald Trump. This is version 2.0. I think some of the things that he's done is obviously he's learned from his mistakes. He's come in very, very well prepared. He's as unpredictable as ever. I think, it's hard for us in markets. Usually we try to keep up with news, but the way at which, Donald Trump is announcing news and, new rules every day, it's a little hard to keep up. Two of his big hires, we've heard enough about Doge and, there's some, I think in spirit, it's not a bad idea to kind of revamp the government and look at things of how the government works. But I think the approach that, probably Elon Musk is taking is very unconventional, and it's giving jitters to everyone. Thankfully, there have been some good hires. We've got a good Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessant. We do hope that, President-elect does pay some heed to him, because he will hopefully try to rein in some control on the kind of spends and inflation points that Donald Trump is trying to push out. On the other side, thankfully, we also have, Powell, who's in some sense managing US rates, and we had the FOMC or the Fed meet very recently. They did not hike because all of the policies that Trump is right now dishing out are technically highly inflationary. We've seen the tariff war. I think as of now, Trump is using most of the tariffs just as negotiation tools. You heard about Mexico, you heard about Canada, and the last minute, he's kind of pulled back. So hopefully the bark will be worse than the bite. But on rates, what's very important, if you look at the two graphs here, you can see the graph on the top. That graph shows you where interest rates or the expectation of US interest rates were almost 1 year ago. And most of you are MSME and borrowing, and you will have bank lines. We always have a hope that interest rates will come down. Just wanted to let you know that if you see 1 year ago, the world expectation of US interest rates was around 3.5%. Now that's about 4.5%. So basically, people were expecting, the number of cuts that they were expecting were massive earlier. Now the number of cuts has considerably reduced. So at best, the world is expecting maybe 1 cut from the US or maybe 2. So what that basically means is, and whatever else that is happening, whether it is immigration, where the US is actually pushing out all illegal immigrants, that is inflationary. Tariffs are definitely inflationary. Long term may be good for the country. But, all of these are getting central banks a little jittery about where future rates are likely headed. We have the ECB, and then we had the BOE. So today the Bank of England just, a couple of hours ago cut rates actually by 25 basis. ECB also cut rates. We feel, this is our view, that that Europe has not been in a good place. They had a war in their backyard. They had inflation which was up. They had growth which was down. They have an aging population. Most of you, must be importing machinery, in large quantums from Europe. We think that Europe, thankfully, we think somewhere has hit the bottom. So hopefully from here, you would begin to see a bit of an upside. Hopefully with Trump come in, one of the other things that he is doing is he does not want to spend $60 billion, servicing that war. So which basically means hopefully the war will also, disappear somewhere. He's already taken over Gaza Strip, so I don't know what's going to happen on the other side. But as a businessman, we think he's not pro-war, which is again positive for oil, positive for ECB. China, slightly different story. It's been an economy that, many people used to compare India-China, but I think that was, a decade ago, and now it's US-China. We've seen a country that has, really used investment very, very smartly. There are very few countries that, have been spending almost 40% of their GDP on investment. And that is what allowed China to have this 10% meteoric rise for so many years. But today it's the second largest economy, and I don't think the second largest economy can gallop at 10%. Their latest predictions are 5%. Of course, China being China, if they predict 5, they always hit 5, so the numbers are a little circumspect. But the moot point is, it's a very large economy and it's having its challenges. we've seen inflation at almost zero. Right? So how do you, inflation is required for growth. While we all grumble about it, inflation is what gives us, when the cost goes up and prices go up, more, there's more spending, and effectively that's what also pushes your GDP. So some economists call it the Japanification of China. We're not sure, time will tell. But I think the thing that I feel the current government in China is not so worried about all of this. And I think their focus is Taiwan. And if you see what Trump is doing, making announcements about, probably taking over Greenland and now the Gaza Strip, I feel gives impetus to, move where China could, possibly maybe in 2027, likely make a move towards Taiwan. So these are my personal views. And I think the US is also probably going to use that as a bartering tool. America said that they would have 60% tariffs on China. Now, why that should worry all of us is, if you have 60% tariffs on China, what will China do? Very simply, they just devalue their currency to offset that. Apart from obviously, charging some tariffs on US goods. But when you have a deficit, a trade deficit, or from China's perspective, a trade surplus, what you will do is devalue your currency. China devalues your currency, the whole Asian basket gets devalued. Obviously, countries like India will have no choice. So what happens in China will closely impact us. But for now, every day there are calls, every week there are, I believe, calls between Donald Trump and either the Mexican Prime Minister President or with the Canadian top camp or possibly with China as well. So hopefully, like I said, some negotiations are on and all this will pass. This is a slide on global rates, inflation and outlook. So if you see this, one is, whenever we talk to customers in your segment, honestly, it's very heartening because we see the bullishness. And you can see this, I just wanted you all to have a look at these charts because globally, if you look at the top right, that is the GDP growth projection that was there for the US, EU and UK. So it was almost depressive in 2023. You can see the optimism in global markets. That's so high. Similarly, on the left, you can see the recession probability has also considerably dropped. So, and inflation has of course, come down, and now with all the tariffs might see a bit of an up move, and hence rates might probably plateau here. But the point is, it's a good time globally. So despite what, the first slide, which is why I said we'll start with a bumpy ride, but I think the, ride will smoothen out. Coming closer back home, India's been a bright spot in all of this. We've seen COVID, we've seen our GDP go up. The last 6 months have not been great, we must admit. We've seen some slowdown, but overall the recent forecast is almost 6.4%. So I think the trend is pretty healthy compared to what's happening globally. We've seen, the budget just happened, and obviously there was a lot of expectation as usual. Some very, very good moves, the MSME, which, Vijay alluded to. We've seen, moves where the government is not really trying to, focus on the vote bank. I think they've been very, very prudent in their spending. And I think the moot point is that their eye is not off the ball on fiscal deficit. And that's very, very important because I think India is very close to a rating upgrade. We are BBB minus, as you all know. S&P, Fitch, Moody's have always rated us that. And it's with a positive outlook. So if you run with a positive outlook, your fiscal deficit stays in check, 4.5, and we probably hit 4.4 if the government's smart about it, we might get a rating upgrade, which means a lot of FDI, FI, FPI money will flow into the country. So in that sense, good points, I would say, to the government for what they're doing. We have had a change of guard at the RBI. We have a new RBI governor. And there's been I'm not saying there's been a huge change in policy, but there's definitely been a shift in, RBI policy. What we've seen is on dollar rupee, which, impacts all of us, and of course on the liquidity side. So the graph on the top right, that shows you the deficit in the system. So, most of us in markets are, one of the first things we have on our morning call is how much liquidity is there in the system. And sometimes it's not only interest rates. The amount of liquidity that is there in the system also impacts us. And in markets, one thing always touches the other. So we had a lot of intervention to protect dollar rupee earlier, and we had a deficit in liquidity. So we had almost up to 3 lakh crores less floating around. And obviously that causes stress. In the recent policies, RBI announced 2-3 things. They're called OMO, where basically they intervene and they try to intervene through bonds. They've done a bond buybacks, buy-sell swap for almost $5 billion. There's something called as a VRR that they do. All of these, through all of these measures, what they've done is they've tried to inject liquidity in. So, by the time I get my next graph out, you will see the liquidity is corrected quite a bit. It's probably down about 50-60,000 crores negative now. And by the time, the end of 15-20 days, that should also correct. So the new governor has definitely taken cognizance of the liquidity tightness that was there. He's corrected it. On dollar rupee, if you see there are two, the pink line and the brown line. The brown line is how dollar rupee has behaved and, compared to most emerging markets. So if you see the, earlier period, maybe for last year when we had Dr. Shaktikanta Das, what was happening is they were very kind of slightly regimented in holding dollar rupee, which was great because, it helped importers, it helped exporters. You didn't have to worry about dollar rupee. You could focus on your business. And that is why dollar rupee was termed as one of the best emerging market performances. If you see, most of the other EM basket has weakened quite a bit, whereas dollar rupee has held. Then you can see after the change in guard, there's been a shift in policy where it's obviously hard to, when you have headwinds like the Dolex moving, which is the dollar index, and I'll touch upon that, strengthening a lot, then the dollar rupee has to weaken. There's no choice about it. And I think the current RBI governor has let that happen. So we are in tandem, I would say, with markets. This one slide, given the fact that I was talking to so many, entrepreneurs and companies that are doing so well, this is one thing that we've seen is I think we should pay homage to how much infra spend the government has been doing. Whether it is the Bharatmala project, the Sagarmala project, the Mumbai-Delhi corridor, the Vande Bharat trains, the metro trains. Maybe 10 years ago, who thought trains could be made in India? And all of this is percolating down, I would say, to all the various sectors. And as Rajiv mentioned, that the way this segment has burgeoned for us is amazing. And I think a large part of it is because of the large infra spend. And it's not just the physical infra that the government has done. If you look at the digital infra, we've built, obviously everyone talks about UPI and Aadhaar and all these things, but we've got ONDC, we've got OCEAN, we've got FASTag. I think the way India is treating the internet is amazing. Most countries like in the West, they use the internet primarily as a marketing tool and an advertising tool, and with AI and all of that. I think India's been using the internet to basically bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. And I think we're doing a fabulous job, and that is what is also helping our growth. Obviously, digitalization, AI helps all of us. As a bank, we are also openly adopting all of this, and hopefully we'll see more. The last few months, I would say H1 was not so great, and we've begun to see data that was not good, but we are quite hopeful that the new prints that will come for the second half of the year will be more bright, because our own forecast for the bank is for India is about in between 6.5% to 7%. The global forecast for India are about 6.4% compared to 5.6, 5.7 which got printed for H1. Our take on why that has happened is, again, primarily government spending. So last year, the CAPEX government spending was about 9 lakh crores. They spent 4.5 lakh crores in H1 and then 4.5 lakh in H2. This year, the projected spend is they've projected 11, they might only land up about 10, but they've only spent 4 in H1. So they should be spending 5 to 6 lakh crores in the second half, and again, that will all trickle down into various projects, hopefully for everyone in this room. The dollar index, I mentioned this. In market parlance, this is again a chart that we all have to watch. We call it the Dolex. What the Dolex is nothing but a chart that indicates the strength of the dollar. So most people tend to think of the dollar as a currency. Actually, it's an asset class by itself. It is the dollar versus everything else. It is the dollar versus oil, the dollar versus equities, dollar versus currencies. And let me try and explain that to you. And if you see this graph, every time there is a crisis, the Dolex shoots up. What this basically means is, imagine you're a wealthy individual sitting somewhere globally, or a hedge fund, or a company with a lot of surpluses, right? And you've put your surpluses, you want to buy land, you have capex plans, or you are going to, you've invested in equities. When there's a crisis, what do? The first thing you do is, you say, okay, let me just postpone my plans, let me stay liquid. And unfortunately for us, or fortunately for us, the world currency happens to be the dollar. So when anyone goes liquid, eventually it's dollar pools that land up. So when you're selling equity and liquidating, effectively you're buying dollars. And that is what causes these spikes. Now, the sad part is, if the crisis is in US as well, it is still the Dolex that will rally, because currency of the world happens to be dollars. So this is, and it impacts all of us. So in market lingo, we call it risk off, risk on. So if risk is on, everything's good, we are all putting on risk. And whenever the Dolex goes up, it's risk off mode. So the dollar index, incidentally today, actually yesterday, hit almost 110. So it was, pre-Trump coming in, it was 102. Once Trump came in, it shot to about 110. Then as he took, charge of office, and, it came down to about 107, 106. But every time he speaks, it jumps up. So recently, obviously with all the announcements that he's been making, it shot to 110. And dollar rupee today hit a, lifetime low of, 87.50 plus. Obviously, there were some outflows, there were some defense outflows. So all of this impacts us, right? And tomorrow, by the way, we have our, rate decision coming in. And again, that is something that is going to impact all of us. But just very quickly covering this slide on dollar rupee, if you look at the top left, you will see last year, I was explaining that, the earlier RBI governor, how they were holding rupee very, very well. And that led to rupee being one of the 4th best performer in all emerging markets. It did cost us money. By the way, holding the currency at that level doesn't come cheap. We've almost spent $100 billion of our reserves. Today, as I mentioned, rupees at 87.57 plus. There's another curve which you might not directly get impacted, but it's the vols, or the volatility. And you can see the volatility has, over the last 2 years almost doubled. And I don't think, so this year, I don't expect volatility to come down in a hurry. We've, do recommend people on hedges. I think most people here do realize that dollar rupee is, exporters tend to hedge because the forward premia is usually always in your favor, and usually rupee doesn't depreciate as much as the forwards indicate. So usually forward hedging for exporters makes sense. Importers, given what is happening, very hard for you to go out and fully hedge yourself. But maybe options is something that you can talk, and there's the whole team available here. You can talk to us after this. I'll just pull back on this one last slide on forward. So for example, last year rupee only depreciated barely 3%, right? Forwards were unfortunately last year only 2%. So sometimes when volatility is there, these moves happen where you might not really even sell and be able to profit from it. But if you continue on that road, you should hopefully be fine. Finally, on India, I just want to end that tomorrow we have, our rate decision. There is a lot of part of the market that is factoring possibly a rate cut. We have a new RBI governor. He might be under some pressure. We saw the MPC. This is the committee that decides the rate cuts or rate hikes. So last time, out of the 6, 2 people had actually suggested that there should be a rate cut. 4 did not. So we feel that this time, you might actually see a rate cut. Most of the market is factoring it. There is an impact of that on dollar rupee. Interest rate differentials then change, right? So effectively, if rupee rates fall and US rates are where they are, the gap is narrow. So you need a gap, because if there is too narrow a gap, why will people put money in India? So interest rates do impact currency markets. So I'll just end with this last slide, quick takeaways. Globally, there's definitely a political shift towards right, and I'll say right meaning extreme right. Wokeism, climate change, all those things. You've Trump talking drill baby drill. The world has moved extremely right, and I think all of us should be a little cognizant of that. Self-reliance or which is deglobalization looks like here to stay, and if this continues, obviously that's highly inflationary. If all this happens, then the Dolex tends to rise, which we've already seen, we spoke about. Euro, ECB, we said that has mostly hit rock bottom, hopefully. higher inflation and higher rates. So, after this conversation, if you're talking to Vijay, Prashant for for reducing your rates, please be mindful that we are also, the rates are not coming down for us as well. Volatility on the rise. And on India, I think the fiscal prudence will pay off. Growth should be somewhere between 6.5, 7, hopefully. And dollar rupee, expect some weakness, but like I said, we are here to support you if you need any help on products and all of that. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Brajesh, for that extremely insightful presentation. We all know successful businesses are not built overnight. It takes years, not years, it takes decades. To build such businesses, a lot of learning, unlearning, discussions happens over the period of time. So we thought, to make sure that, the future proofing MSMEs for the new age discussion to go forward, we should have a kind of panel discussion where those who have learned and those who have moved ahead of us in the learning curve will share their experiences in Tamil Nadu. They are very much with us. So they learned through the path, so we want to learn from them. So this panel discussion will be moderated by Mr. Prashant T.S. He is head of mid-corporate. He is with the bank from 2020, and he is known for his aggressive passion. He has made the bank's mid-corporate and MEG businesses 6 times in the last 4-5 years. So he is also known as the change agent in the bank, and thanks to most of you today, if you are experiencing ease of business in the bank, he is one key transformation agent. Let us welcome Mr. Prashant to the stage. Now it's time to call upon the 3 dynamic leaders onto the stage. First one, Padma Shri Rafiq Ahmad Mecca. He started his career in 1963 under the guidance of late Haji Mecca and took full control over the business after his father's demise in 1965. Under his guidance as chairman, Farida Group has grown from a single tannery to the largest leather goods exporter group in India, across 18 companies with over 2,000 crores of export turnover. Yes, he is the right person to represent and talk to all of us because he is having 18 companies, smallest being less than 50 crores, being the micro segment, to a large corporate more than 500 crore turnover. He is also in the research council member for CLRI, and he's had many esteemed positions in the government of India, including FIEO and president of All India Merchants Association. So he was conferred for all his great service and achievement in trade and commerce. He was conferred Padma Shri in 2011. Moving on to the next panelist, Mr. Rajendran Sabhanayagam. He is the founder and managing director of Sumangala Steel Private Limited, the oldest and most experienced steel manufacturer in Tamil Nadu. Founded in 1985 as an SSI unit, Sumangala Steel has grown organically over the last 40 years. With over 45 years experience, his vision and extensive knowledge in the steel industry has made him globally and made relevant in the South India as a known brand. Like his brand ambassador, Arvind Swamy, he too defy his age and remain youthful forever. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together to invite Mr. Rajendran to the stage. Our next esteemed guest, Mr. Vijay Seth, is a founder and managing director of Urmila Enterprises Private Limited, an ISO certified company established in Chennai in 1996. Urmila is one of the largest leading organized rental companies for construction equipment. Vijay is a dedicated entrepreneur with vast experience in the construction equipment rental business. So along with our 2 doyens from manufacturing, Vijay represents the service industry. He is also equally cheerful and good to go person for all our doubts. Everyone give a round of applause to all our panelists.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Rafiq sir, let me start with you. Farida Group, of course, is known as one of the largest leather exporters from the country today. You started as a small-scale tannery and becoming the largest, leather goods exporter from the country. We want you to share your journey with us and how did you create the niche for being one of the sought-after suppliers for, all your international customers?
Good evening, everyone. I should, Mr. Rajiv Anand, who has come all the way from Bombay, and all our friends here, Prashant, who came to give me the invitation today, all of us. I started this business in 1964, middle of 1964. I joined my father's company, who started in 1957 And those days was the post-colonial times. And the business was export. I started from the day one in the export business. And because our family, our things were all involved in that. And it was all making into UK, United Kingdom, nothing else. Everything to goods, leather, which was semi-tanned leather those days. That's a preservation, tanning to do. And all of them have been exported to the United Kingdom. There it is resold to all over the world. We don't know where it is going, which is the final buyer, but everything is controlled by the British at the time. And when I entered, I saw all these things happening. I was a little not very happy.
Sure.
The elders were very happy with the British people being a very old Doraporar, those type of respect they had. I felt that very uneasy. So I said to travel directly to Italy, France, Italy, all these places, thinking where they are selling.
Sure.
And start to contact them. And these people even boycotted our company for doing this, the British companies. I didn't care. And we developed a business. So since we went directly to the consumer, the people, we had a very big business at those times. We killed these British people. And our company was very much shining in those days. So the start was something with, I was little not on the same path of which was going, little different than going and finding it, which gave us a very good lead for me, a confidence in the future that things can be fought out.
Sure.
We need not have to follow the old tradition.
Yeah, I agree, Rafiq sir. I think path less traveled deliver better results to you. So, Rajendra sir, coming to you, started in 1985 as an MSME, growing to 1,000 crore company today. So, we want you to share your journey.
We started off as a small-scale industry in 1985.
Oh, yeah. SSI.
SSI.
Yeah.
And we started off with a term loan of 47.85 lakhs, 25 lakhs of capital subsidy in those days,
Okay.
and 12.8 lakhs of equity. The project cost was about 80 lakhs. And we thought we would produce about 600 tons of steel in a month. I'm happy to say that today we produce 600 tons a day of steel. So if you look at our growth over the last 40 years, I want to use some business school jargon, pardon me.
Yeah.
And then I want to share with you some of the examples
Please.
of what we did. One of the key things which my brother and I did,
Yes.
and we had some other businesses in textile spinning, in construction, etc. What we had to do was to define our business.
Sure.
Because at that point in time, starting steel manufacturing in India, and the reason why we started steel manufacturing in India was the per capita consumption of steel in India was lower than Bangladesh.
Okay.
So we thought there was a very big opportunity in steel.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, the players were the major steel plants owned by the government, like SAIL and other of these major steel plants. But we always felt that there was a niche, and we defined our business, even at that point in time, as a recycler, not as a manufacturer of steel. We said that we'll focus our business as a recycler of scrap metal into steel, and we still define the business the same way.
Wow.
And as a recycler of steel, the one objective we had was our market was going to be Tamil Nadu, and we'll be the most efficient player in Tamil Nadu, so that we could be the most efficient converter of scrap to steel. So once we had defined our business, the next key thing was for us to decide what the key factors for success in this business is. And the key factors for success in this business is the sourcing of your raw material, which is scrap. There's no cost of production for scrap.
Yeah.
Therefore, we knew if we were the most efficient converter of scrap, we could always source the scrap because no one else can pay a higher price than us.
Yes.
The second key thing was to understand the key factors for success. Electricity was a major input cost.
Yes.
And we decided to put up a plant in Pondicherry because being a union territory, the government had a straight line from Naval Lignite Corporation
Okay.
to Pondicherry.
Yeah.
So reliable, cheap, efficient electricity supply was possible.
Sure.
So we identified a lot of the key factors for success.
Yeah.
Some of the things today I can use business school jargon to say, but what we did was in any decision we took, we always looked at what the foundations of the business are.
Yeah.
The third aspect, which is very important, which we looked at, was barriers to entry.
Yeah.
If there are no barriers to entry, we create barriers to entry.
Yeah.
Because that's very important to have your position safeguarded. So there were certain barriers to entry which were created in Pondicherry. So that
Sure.
helped us. The other important aspect in this is innovation.
Yeah.
Innovation, whether it be in technology, whether it be in terms of training people, we were always very innovative.
Sure.
And finally, and the most important, which we felt, was financial prudence. Because to grow a business from 1 rupee to 100 rupees or from 1 crore to 1,000 crores
Yes.
requires a certain amount of capital investment.
Yeah.
And that capital investment is in the form of fixed assets and in terms of working capital. That requires both the bank support
Yes.
and your own capital.
Yes.
So knowing what capital you have
Yeah.
and how you source the capital,
Yeah.
that's very important to target what sort of growth you can achieve.
Sure.
And we were very clear in our mind that we would grow only to the extent of capital that we have.
Yeah.
So some of these factors we used
Yeah.
to ensure that our growth was always consistent,
Yeah.
but we never went for growth.
Sure.
Growth was more a byproduct or a corollary.
Yeah.
Our real objective at any point in time was our bottom line, we had to make a profit.
Sure. That was a textbook explanation what you gave. Thank you. Yeah. So Vijay sir, I think very different field, and I think one of the reasons that why we wanted to have you on the panel is, you know, your business is closely linked to the infrastructure spends that as a country we do, and you know we want you to share first generation entrepreneur. You started this business, so please take us through, you know, how is your business doing in linkage to the, you know, infrastructure spends that are happening in the industry on the, you know, construction equipment rental business that you run.
So, good evening to everyone, and I wish to thank Axis Bank for getting me here as a panelist. Urmila was started in 1996, and we started like my friends here with 30,000 rupees as capital, and we were struggling to understand what business we should do, but I had a passion for infrastructure, for machines, so I started taking some small contracts, and I started buying some machines and giving them on rent. I did a lot of contracting jobs. We built roads, we built airports, but I found the margins not very great.
Sure.
So I started renting out machines, thinking that, okay, I have a fixed margin, I know I have margin.
Yeah.
But then we slowly went into, what I found was in the market, there is no organized rental player in India. So all these EPC contractors who are in the business, they need a compliant, very statutory compliant company.
Sure.
And I found that there is no organized rental. The world over, if you take internationally, the 80% of business is with the organized rental market. Whereas in India, it is not even in today's stage, it is not even 8-10%. So a huge potential for growth. So I got into the mold of organized rental. And from 30,000 rupees, today we are a 350 plus crore company. We are working in 120 sites in India and 22 states. We work in 6 international countries. Abroad, we are renting out construction equipment, high capital intensive construction equipment. We construct metros, we rent out machines for metros, roads, airports, ports. Name the infrastructure project we are in. And from 2014, after the government came in and their whole focus went into growing the GDP and infrastructure spend, we have grown multifold. We are today the leading construction equipment rental company in India. We are the largest with most of the EPC companies. We are the largest with all the L&T, Afcons, ITD, you name the company, we are the largest rental provider to them. We provide a diversified rental machinery that no one in India, that is again our USP, like Mr. Rajendran said, what we bring on the table. Yeah. We brought in that entry barrier that everyone are focused on one model or one type of machinery, whereas we give a variety of the product of machinery. That we got because we had the field knowledge and application knowledge of machinery. Many people get into business not knowing what is application knowledge or what is what. So we actually study, we become a solutions provider to the customer, and the customer may want something, but we say we will give you something else. So today we have grown a lot, and we are today on a process of going for even an IPO shortly. It's been a tough, challenging, but a very interesting, exciting journey. 29 years, and I have my two sons also join my business. So that's a great achievement I have done because I was worried the second generation coming into the business is always a challenge. Yeah. So, but they have joined, and luckily they are tolerating me.
No, thank you, Vijay sir. I think the next decade belongs to India, and the infrastructure story is going to continue. And best wishes for your IPO also. Rafiq sir, coming back to you, I think I'll pick up from the point that Vijay sir made. You know, whenever in MSMEs we have seen a new generation coming in, we see some bit of friction. And you know, I have, like you explained, you took over the business from your father. You ran it successfully for so long. And I have met Irshad and others who are taking over from you. So what is your advice to MSMEs, you know, when the new generations come in?
See, anyway, I have 4 boys and one daughter. They all went to US to study. They done their undergraduate and masters there. Some of them went to Italy in a good Bocconi University. And my eldest son went to, after joining me, after 10 years, he went back to study in Fletcher School of Diplomacy. It's considered one of the topmost diplomacy school. Law and diplomacy. The one thing I get them connection with us.
Yeah.
And when they were in US, I said each and every holiday, even if it is 1 week holiday or 10 days, to come to India.
Yeah.
Come to India, stay with the family,
Yeah.
and go with me to the factory.
Yes.
Go with me to work. Never talked about problems of the industry with them. Otherwise they will run away, thinking that this headache, this is let it stay with my father. I will go and have a nice job, something else. Never talked about all different problems, this, our government, this, the corruption. Never told them anything. I hide everything with them, make them interesting, to meet them with the customers, meet them with the fashion items and things. That attracted them. They said that this is the future, this is the something, I had to come back. Yeah. So all the 4 boys had liking to the business. Yeah. We made them to do that. Sure. Even in the international fairs being held in US, France, Germany, I made them to come with me to attend them, see the world and everything. Yeah. So that made them interesting to come here. After coming and joining, they also got through all the headaches and everything. That is different. But now they cannot go back. Yeah. That's the way they have all interested. One thing I would like to say that what change I made is that since we had 3 or 4 companies, 5 companies at the time, I felt that I don't want to make one son accountant, one son salesman, and one son something else. No. I said, then his wife will say, oh, you ghar mein bet ke hisab likhta hai. The other brother goes to America and comes sales. No. We gave them one company. Sure. You run it. Yeah. You are the boss. You run it. I will only come out when you make the profit. Sure. You show me the profit and loss. So all the 4 are running different companies with different markets are being given to them. Sure. So one US, Germany, Italy, France, Scandinavia, all those things. So this is how it happens. There is a good meeting place for everyone. Every month they sit down and discuss how the business are going. I may be having less, my son will be having less order. You may be having more. They share with them. Yeah. They will do that. Ultimately, it comes to the company. Sure. There was a holding company we created where all the family members have the share there. The holding company holds them together. Then what happened is we went internationally also. Sure. We went to Ethiopia, a country where one of the finest leather is available in the world. Yes. One of the finest leather is from Ethiopia. I went as a delegation and then met the minister and found that this is the best opportunity to start a tannery there. We are now 12 years since we have established a very good tannery,
Okay.
and we export directly from Ethiopia to all over the world.
Okay.
Very, very rare items of exports. Then we have started, we saw the American customers are not buying from America, they're all buying from China.
Yeah.
For China is the headquarter, and they need the samples, fashions, samples to be shown to them in a couple of days, 3 days, 4 days. Sitting from India, I can't develop a sample, send in a courier for 8 days, something changed. So we started a studio in China.
Okay.
We employ around 70 people in that studio. Designers, all the designers, very good designers are there, product engineers are there. We make the samples, show it to the customer there, get it approved, get it the order here. So all these changes made the next generation interesting.
Sure.
Now I'm happy to say my third generation, my grandsons have joined, 2 of them has joined us, and one of them is taking me to Vietnam for a joint venture.
Very nice.
He's taking me to the Vietnam. I said, I will come and witness what you are doing.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
That's great. Rajendra sir, coming back to you, I think steel as an industry, we believe it's cyclical. It goes through its up and down. We've seen it many times, the cycle playing out. What did Sumangla do differently, not only to sustain, but also grow and become a large company today?
First and foremost, we made mistakes.
Okay.
And we learned from those mistakes. Yeah. And we tried not to repeat those mistakes.
Yeah. Okay.
The first month we had a loss was in December of 1992.
Okay.
And when we saw that loss in the P&L, it shook us. Therefore, we had to go back to basics and understand what was happening. And we saw a fundamental change in technology. Electric arc furnaces were shutting down like flies all over India. North, south, east, west, they were just shutting down. And they had owed thousands of crores to the banks. And that was happening because a newer technology called induction technology had come in. And this induction technology, the cost of production was much lower than the electric arc furnace. But the induction technology was only 1 ton, 2 ton, 3 ton. At that point in time, because of government's regulations of licensing, we had a 25-ton electric arc furnace, which was ready to be commissioned.
Okay.
And we were scared to commission that furnace because we knew if we commissioned it, it will be another period of losses.
Sure.
So we decided to
Hold it.
understand and gain knowledge.
Sure.
And one of the things to gain knowledge is to talk to people.
Yes.
I learned a lot from talking to people who are experienced in this industry, traveled overseas, went to some fairs, conferences, and having understood the technology, we took the bold decision of investing in 2 of the largest induction furnaces in Asia at that point in time, 2 12 tons. So we used the entire infrastructure we had built by using 2 large induction furnaces to overcome, or therefore what we did was we leapfrogged the induction people, and our cost of production became lower than theirs.
Wow.
That was one example. Another example I always say is my Black Friday of 1995. Black Friday of 1995, Brijesh was talking about foreign exchange.
Yes.
In 1995 in October, the rupee went from 31 rupees to 39 rupees in a period of 3 weeks.
Okay.
At that point in time, we had opened an LC, and we normally take forward cover after the BL.
Goods,
issue.
BL comes in. Okay.
From the date of the bill of lading,
Yes.
you open take the forward cover, but from the time of opening of LC to the date of
Bill of lading.
the bill of lading, you're open. That's when we realized the rupee had dropped from 31 to 36. And at that point in time, forward cover was 40.
Yeah.
So we had to ride the wave.
Yeah.
And came February of 86, the Reserve Bank and the government took a lot of decisions, and they brought down the rupee from something like 38 to 34 or so.
Okay.
So learning from that, we have a policy of taking a forward cover even before we sign the contract.
Wow.
So these are some of the things which we learn from our mistakes. So repeating the mistakes is a sure way of going down. And we are import based for raw material.
Yes.
That's one thing which we have to be very careful. Similarly, there are a lot of other technologies, and you use technologies to be able to overcome the cyclicality of the industry. The other important thing is you don't chase growth.
Yes.
I've had a lot of arguments with my bankers saying, why is the top line down?
Yeah.
I say, don't look at the top line, look at the bottom line.
Yes.
Because when you force the top line, you're always buying 300 rupees more
Yes.
and you're selling 300 rupees less.
Yes.
In an industry like ours, where the fixed costs are reasonably low,
Yes.
the variable costs are high. So it again depends upon the financial mathematics of each business, of what approach is best suited.
Yes.
So to understand the cyclicality of the business, and one more thing is the black swan theory.
Yes.
The black swan says when you least expect it,
Yes.
it will happen.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone expected the rupee to devalue the way it has devalued today.
Yes.
So the black swan theory is something which we believe in. The most unexpected thing will happen, and that one event can kill you.
Sure. Yeah.
There are so many businesses which I've seen which the unexpected happened, and the unexpected was such a big shock that it killed the business. So you understand what that event could be and ensure
You're prepared
that you're
for it.
protected
Yeah,
and
protected
mitigated
for it.
against that. These are some of the things which now we can talk, but it's something which is, you need to inbuild it in your DNA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that every day when you get up, you think about these factors.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things which we used to handle the cyclicality over 40 years. So in all the companies which started before me are no more. Many companies which started after me are also no more. Luckily we have survived, and I hope we survive for the next 40 years.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for those learnings. Vijay sir, coming to you, futuristic approach to your business, how are you seeing it? Can there be an e-commerce site for construction equipment, rental equipment, like Ola and Uber? Do we see that happening?
Frankly, I doubt much, because there are a great variety of equipment, and then it has to be project specific and also application specific. So there are some who have tried to be like an Ola or Uber, but absolutely no response, because we give solutions to customers. So we have to recommend what type of machines they need, or what are the different models of machines they need, or tonnage of machines they need. So, you can put it online, but the customer will not understand what machine you are offering. There are different models, different varieties, different combinations. So I doubt whether you can put your information on a website. And if you have to interact with the customer, and you have to give him the best solution. Once you give a solution, customer comes to you with more problems, and you can keep on solving his problems, and he keeps coming to you. But this type of business, I doubt very much it will happen.
Good. Rafiq sir, coming back to you, footwear manufacturing is a labor-intensive business. How do you, manage availability of skilled labor?
See, our bind factories are not in the city. We have two factories in Chennai, which in Porur, and in Poonamali bypass. But most of the time factories are in Ambur and other area. We try to take as much as possible the people who can come by walk to the factory, as much as possible, nearest possible thing. Our policy is not to take any ladies. We have 85% of our total workers are women.
Wow.
85%.
That's very good.
And there are factories also which has got 100% also. So it is very important for us to understand that, and to see that we take who has not worked in a factory, from the farmers, from the family, from the farmer, from the thing. We take them, train them. We have school good trainers, and train them, and we think that with the 4 weeks to 6 weeks, they are able to understand this and able to. The girls in the south are very, very good, very intelligent. They pick it up very well, very well. The only thing is that we have to tell them what to do correctly, and they will follow that one. And that's how we able to They today employ around 24,000 workers today we have.
Wow.
And about 21,000 or 20,000 are women.
Very good. So you,
And
so you
also
kind
we
of
have,
get,
we have a problem with the women because they are employed, the husband doesn't get employed. He brings food after cooking and everything. There are social problems. He gets very upset. That wife, his daughter, everybody is working in the factory. He is not able to get a job, something like that. That is also we're trying to solve that. We have a psychiatrist in our thing who counsel, they counsel the husband how to do that, what kind of work they can go, something like that. That is also keep tension in the family.
sure, thank you. I thought you will tell me, wife is looking at the husband on a Sunday, what is the use, she can come to work. So, Rajesh sir, coming to you, I think today we were discussing about the challenges of the MSME industries. I think we spoke about it. I want to cover it here. Skilled labor, access to credit, logistics, the other factors, that you have kind of seen over the years.
See, today the MSMEs, broadly you can categorize in two. One is the new age MSMEs, who are basically the IT knowledge process outsourcing, who are working in
the services,
services sector. Then you have the brick and mortar MSMEs. For the brick and mortar MSMEs, the biggest challenge which I see today is the price of land. Because for an MSME, to spend for an acre of land 2 crores, 3 crores, 4 crores becomes a very large portion, and it's a dead investment.
Yes.
So I see the price of land as a very big challenge for MSMEs in India.
Sure.
The second major challenge is in terms of talent. Today, earlier if I had put a newspaper advertisement for diploma engineers, I would get about 500 applications. Today, very few of the diploma engineers want to come and work in a brick and mortar factory. They want to work in IT. They don't mind delivering Swiggy and Zomato deliveries. So getting talent is another big challenge. And the only way you can get that talent is through education of these young graduates who are coming out of college. So we have a program where we go to campuses and we tell them that, look, you've got career choices to make. You can go and get burnt out in the IT industry, or you can go to Zomato and deliver. You will get enough money, 40, 50,000 rupees, but your career ends there. On the other hand, you come to a company like ours, you earn 20,000 or 25,000 to start up, and then every year you go out and check what your market value is. Your market value continues to increase. So we try to show these examples to get talent. So getting talent, and I don't think the answer is getting North Indian labor. That's a short-term solution, as what my good friend Mr. Rafiq mentioned. You find women, South Indian women, and you try to, and then there's a KPR mills in Coimbatore, where the number of women that they've educated, and so there are things which we need to use. And I think availability of talent. We talk about demographic dividend. I don't know how much the dividend we can realize, but that's another challenge. And today I was talking to one of the MSMEs, and they were talking about MSMEs, the credit cycle and the volatility of the cash flows is such, it puts a lot of strain, and therefore understanding their requirement for credit and working with the banker to make sure when you really need 10, as what we discussed, when we need 10, the banker says manage with 6. Whether you can manage with 6, when you need 10, you can't manage with 6. So these are some of the challenges which I think there's going to be for the MSMEs.
We just are coming to you. Skill labor and technology are two kind of pillars for infrastructure. So where do you see we are on the global map in terms of skill on technology?
See, as far as skilled, because our equipment requires very skilled operators. And if you look at the global stage, in some of the developed countries, the cost of labor is even costlier than the rental cost. So suppose a machine we are renting out for say 2 lakh rupees, the cost of operating the machine is 2.5 lakh rupees. Okay. So what they do in the West is they give the machine on dry lease and they say you put your operator.
Okay.
But in India the situation is different, we have to give it the operator. So we have about 1,700 people working with us, and out of that maybe we have 1,000 operators. So what we do is, because of the variety of machine we have, we ensure that they get trained in all the types of machines, so we keep that excitement on. We have a referral program, so they bring in the machine. See, everyone in the industry suffer for operators. Of course, operators also we pay them well, we pay them better than the industry, because they actually take they work I may invest any amount of money in my machine, but they operate the machine, and because of them I get the rent. So we pay them well, we pay them better than the market. We take care of their basic needs like accommodation, food, all that we take care. And we have started a program recently, we have started educating the children, so that we give these sort of shops to them, so that, because my machine which is worth say crores of rupees is being handled by one guy in the site, he can mess up my machine. But I make him the owner of the machine. I say, you are the owner, I am only invested the money. So he gets attached to his job, he gets sold. So he brings a lot of talent from other places. So we are not having difficulty in getting talent, we have to only train them. So we have tied up with the OEMs, and we have put up a skill center in Sri City in Tada, and we are now skilling them on their operations, safety measures. We are now asked the OEMs in collaboration putting simulators, just like you see your pilots, we are now putting for our equipment simulators. We are doing that also. So that slowly they will get trained, and then as they get trained, they will be much more happier to work with us, because they know that they are, plus because of the variety of machines we have, they enjoy that they are growing in their thing. As far as technology is concerned, we are very clear that we will bring only the advanced technology machines we will have in our fleet. We will not compromise on technology, because today's technology, there is so much of telematics in each of the equipment that you can sit in your office and get all the data. So we have a command center in office where we are able to draw all the data from all the machines
all
working
the equipment,
all over the India, and we are able to analyze and take corrective measures. So technology we don't compromise, it comes with the cost. But with the technology, we are able to bring fuel efficient machines. So you may get a machine worth 10 lakhs cheaper, but it will consume 4 liters per hour more fuel. The customer is suffering, he will not hire a machine. So we add value to customers, saying we will save for you money. We will ensure that you save money. We will give you better data. We will give you the transparent data. We are very transparent. We will give you data every day. This is the what is my machine worth. So you don't even depend on your people, because they are all remote sites. So that technology we also are very fuel efficient, environment friendly. The what you call BS4 or stage 4, whatever that we ensure that they have less what you call carbonization. So we ensure that technology we maintain, so that we are in the latest in the industry.
Thank you, Vijay sir. Rafiq sir, coming back to you, last question.
I'm going to interrupt here for a minute.
Please.
I think well said. I've just decided to sell you my 2 excavators and 3 cranes and hire them back with your operators. Today my problem is getting operators.
Rafiq sir, the last question to you. 46% of India's export is from MSME sector. Share your experience of dealing with these export market, export customers. Do you see any impact of geopolitics? Brijesh covered Trump and China. Any impact on that on your business?
See, I was the president of the Federation of Indian Export Organization twice. That covers all the export industries, carpet, rice, handicrafts, textile, engineering, everything together. So I had worked with them, I have gone and seen. I see that really MSME have the best opportunity in the export sector. They don't have to go to a big project. Smaller projects they take out and do it well, they get a good customers. In Delhi, there is a fair happens for handicrafts fair. It's considered one of the world's most famous fair. You can see 90% of them are micro and small scale people come and exhibit and have a business there. That is a lot of strength is with the MSME in export sector than any other sector, I can tell you. But they had to focus on the product. Take for instance in our footwear, in our leather sector, there are so many sectors. Footwear is the one sector which is needs a large investment,
Yeah.
large investment.
Yes.
But there are handbags, wallets, belts, the garment, leather
Yeah,
garment. These are all small scale industry. They can only do it,
Sure.
not the big large
Yeah.
one. And they are doing excellent in
Very good.
Chennai. You can see in Pallavaram and other places. The companies are doing for the very, very top brands. So MSME has got a very good opportunity in the export
Export
sector,
market, okay.
and they have to focus.
Okay.
Talking about our brother Trump coming,
Yes.
and we are very happy about it.
Okay.
Only because they has put some duty on China,
Okay.
and the business is coming to us now.
Okay.
Lot of business inquiries have started coming because the 10%,
Yeah.
10% duty they have levied on that. Even before, because they were all expecting he will
Yes,
win
yes.
and he will put.
Yes.
They started transferring the business to India.
Okay.
And we were benefited out of that.
Okay.
But anyway, these all are temporary things.
Yes.
After a while, you have to be efficient.
Yes,
You have
of
to be
course.
competitive to take the business on. And I'm thinking that India has a good future
Sure.
in the geopolitical problem.
Wow.
India will benefit out of that.
Good. Thank you. Rajendra sir, what are the three new areas of opportunity in your industry, and what's your advice for a new generation entrepreneur coming into your industry?
Having been a MSME before,
Yes.
the key thing which I feel, MSMEs need not fear the large corporates or the big Goliaths.
Sure.
Like the David and the Goliath story,
Yeah.
the MSMEs, if they can define their mission
Yes.
in terms of their business, the key factors for success, the barriers to
Yeah.
entry, what I said earlier,
Yes.
they are a very formidable
Sure.
opponent to the large scale players.
Sure.
And therefore, the key thing is to understand the business
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
and gain knowledge.
Sure.
So once you've gained the knowledge, then you know more than anyone else in that very small area. You know, I got a friend of mine in Bangalore, he makes rocker arms.
Okay.
And the rocker arm for an automobile controls the fuel consumption. And according to him, there are something like 50 or 60 different dimensions.
Sure.
So the amount of knowledge he has in that small rocker arm is more than anyone else.
Yeah.
So Ferrari comes to him.
Wow.
So I feel the MSMEs have got a tremendous potential if only you don't do another, what should I say, run of the mill.
Yeah.
You know, you set up a 15,000 ton spinning mill.
Yes.
It doesn't help.
Yeah. Have a differentiation.
Have a real differentiation. The other thing is it's important to build the loyalty of people.
Yeah.
Because you build the MSME and you have the people and the people leave you and they start their own MSME, then you have a problem. You've got to make them as a partner.
You know, today you told me about your suppliers, importance of supplier against customers. You know, I just want you to probably spend 30
You see,
seconds on that.
For example, in our business, the product which we manufacture is a commodity. So as long as I can make a good product at the right price,
Customer
everyone
will
will
buy
buy
it.
it.
Yeah.
But what I need is my raw material. Therefore, I spend 80% of my time with my suppliers. And I try to understand the supply portion, the supply chain, whether it be a small scrap dealer in Mannadi or the largest scrap supplier in the world. I pretty much visited every scrap supplier in the world and I understand the dynamics and how the price movements go.
Yes.
Like, for example, when the yen was 159, Japan was very competitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when China is dumping steel into Vietnam and China and Korea, then automatically the Japanese scrap prices drop.
Yes.
So it's understanding the supplier base is one of the important factors if the raw material source is very important for your business.
Sure. Yeah. Good. I think that was a very good input that you gave. Vijay sir, back to you.
And one other thing which I must add is the fiscal controls
Prudence.
in MSME, the fiscal prudence an MSME must have.
Yeah.
Like in my company, even today, every payment I have full visibility to.
Sure.
It's not that I have to approve it. There
Yeah.
are people who approve it. Just the visibility, the knowledge
Yeah.
of what is happening in
You
the
should be
company
able to see it.
is important.
Yeah.
And not delegate that.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Vijay sir, last question, your words of wisdom for the aspiring MSME business owners.
You see, MSME can grow potentially. Basically, your bigger company will grow slower and an MSME can grow very fast.
Yeah.
But I believe that, you have to have some basic parameters or basic, what I call business ethics in MSMEs, or for any business for that matter is, you must have the passion for your business. So that drives your, focus on the business. Then you must be very clear about where you want to go.
Yeah.
Then you must be very patient because you'll have your falls, you'll have your trials and tribulations. You'll have to be patient. You'll have to be committed to work hard, which is very important. All this consistently you have to do. You do all this, you will build some credibility.
Yeah.
Once you build the credibility, above all of that, you will have to ensure that what drives you most will be the integrity. So if you do all this, everyone will come to you. They will make your business grow. The bank wants a good guy, the supplier wants a good guy, you have to pay on time. You can do tax planning, don't do tax evasion. Pay your taxes, pay your staff on time, pay your vendors on time, pay the banks on time, you can come on the business.
Yeah.
So what happens then, everyone will start making you grow. And as you grow, they will want, because everyone, even a thief wants to put money with a good fellow. He will not go and invest with another thief. So everyone wants you have to be that good person. Yeah. If you become that good person, automatically the people around you will you'll be attracting good people around you and you can grow. So you have to be focused. It is tiring, it is challenging, but it will take you some time, maybe 6, 8 years, 10 years, because if you want to grow, it will take that much time. You can't, even a child will learn to crawl and start walking maybe in 1 or 2 years and then balance itself in about 4 or 5 years. So it takes that much time. By the time it takes 18, 20, I think all of us would have taken that much time to come to this level of 18, 20 years, and then you grow. But you will have to be patient. You will have to be focused. You will have to be committed that, no, I am going to grow. And as you grow in your path, you will know what changes to make, what mistakes you made. You can learn from all those mistakes. You can be very truthful to yourself. Sometimes you get worried that this will happen, that will happen. I never worry. I used to have a lot of challenges, but I never defaulted to my payments. I ensure that so anytime I make a call, I will get support.
Yeah.
So what happens is these are basic things if you do, and you take care of your employees well, you take care of staff, your banks, everyone you take care, they will make you grow. Yeah. They will be behind you. Everyone want a good people to work with. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Rafiq sir. Thank you, Rajan sir. Thank you, Vijay sir. Thank you for your time.